And we are back. We are back with our second match of the night with Coliseum 8 Group B, day number 2. Whew. We're here. We are back. We have our second match of the night. Reynor vs. SKillous is going to be coming up next here. And once again, unfortunately, Reynor, he has no camera available. We saw the same thing yesterday as well in his match versus Max. But regardless, we're still here with that series. And a big shout to Nikita for having his camera. Let's go. He's ready, he's excited, and we have our Vitas. We have our matchups here. Game 1 is going to be in lane lines, Game 2 on first line, and Game 3 on Whispers of Gold. Whew. Here we go. As we're jumping into game number 1. And in the top right-hand corner, we have Reynor for Basilisk. And in the bottom left, we have SKillous for Team Liquid. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is a Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series. Best of luck. Best of luck in the chat. Ooh, as those predictions are open. Coming into this, just like the previous game, I would favor Reynor. I would favor Reynor in this series. But what I will say is that SKillous has been improving a lot over the past couple of weeks. We saw that in the qualifiers for this tournament, not just the qualifiers, we saw that in the Lima League as well, with SKillous just completely popping off, taking down some massive names in the scene, in the region. Players like Solar, for example. Can you do the same to Reynor? I should also emphasize, SKillous, he took down Solar and he took down Rogue. He took down Rogue yesterday, he took down Solar during the qualifiers as well. I do think both those players are comparable to Reynor. Comparable, but we'll see. We shall see. As Reynor has some killer ZvP. And we'll see if SKillous once again has some cheeky Clem builds. That's what I'm ready for. I'm ready for it. Let's go. Here we go. But again, for those who maybe weren't here during the qualifiers, SKillous, he did qualify to this event using some of Clem's builds. Specifically, what we're referring to is that Clem has been playing a lot of Protoss. He is the #1 ranked Protoss in Europe, and Clem, I mean, that does entail Clem actually working on some of these other matchups as well, specifically PvZ. Did, of course, impart some wisdom onto SKillous, did give him a build to make use of, and SKillous was able to make full use of it against both Solar and against Rogue as well in yesterday's run, in yesterday's matches. And they've been working quite well. It's been good. The TL boys, they're crazy. So we'll see if he's able to use that to overcome and overwhelm Reynor as well. Let's put out Stargate opener here out of SKillous. Everything looking normal for the time being. Here we go. So Vilings, they get across the map. Gonna be able to shut in the pylon. Again, just laying the third base for a little bit of time here, but nothing too major, as Reynor is just settling into a 3-base setup. Just going to be joining, just going to be saturating. Deft does poke in towards that third, does not quite get a drone. Nice control here to Reynor. Saves the worker, saves the mineral line. SKillous still trying to be active. Oracle's on the way behind this. And we'll see if SKillous does go for an earlier Twilight Council here. Really, that's what my eyes are on. On that production tab, on that tech. Here we go, Ling's getting across the map. Nice surround. The Adept is going to go down. The Oracle's out of position. Oh, and the third base is under fire. Yeah, SKillous unfortunately didn't miss this move out. Is he going to force a cancel? No shot. It's going to be close. Up. Can he get it? No shot. It looks like he can. It's still so close to Lings. Oh my god. A couple more hits, that would have been game then and there, by the way. If SKillous had to cancel that third base, that would have been over, but no, he barely does save it, just barely. Gets 4 drones across the map for 1 Oracle, doesn't lose it. Whew. And with that, SKillous finds himself in a nice position. He killed all the Lings, he got 4 drone kills, he saved the 4th base. Sure, he lost 1 Adept, but honestly, as the dust settles, that was a better trade for SKillous. Could have been disastrous though, like it could have been awful. But he's looking good. He's looking good. Using fettuccine instead of rails was a controversial idea that was not proven a great success. You say that, but I mean, at least the trains are well fed. They're well fed back. Ah, the fettuccine. It's beautiful. Maybe the fettuccine was just overcooked. Needed to be al dente, papi. That was the mistake. So settling it. So far, Reynor getting to plus on melee is working for a Ling Flood as well. Plus on melee does typically indicate is going to be Ling into Hydra Tech. The lair was a little bit more delayed though, and that's a massive wave of Lings here moving out towards left hand side. Lings are moving out. Ahí están. Ay. Bienvenidos, papi. Bienvenidos. Good to see you. As Reynor is making 20 more Lings behind. Oh my god. He's making so many Lings. 20 more Lings on the way. This is a big investment for Reynor, by the way. And if he does not get damaged with this, he's just going to fall behind. Queens are moving out as well. Okay, they're pulling back. Lings, they get scattered. Again, most if not all of these Lings could have been drones. They could have been drones, could have been a faster 4th base. The 4th base just now went down. Very late 4th here for Reynor. It might even be cancelled. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Up. Oracle's gonna fall. Massive pickoff. Yeah, SKillous does overextend. Go a little bit too greedy. He pulled a Reynor. Doesn't get the expansion. And here we go. Reynor is taking up. But just a really, I would say, uneasy game state here for both players. Reynor still has all those Lings active. Still has them. SKillous taking up into charge, into Archons. He's now moving out. True. This is a PSA. Don't overcook your pasta. Oh no. Doesn't do well for your public transport. As SKillous moving forward, cashing out a lot of Lings. Nicely done. Lings get caught out. SKillous taking his 4th base. Likewise, Reynor taking into Hydras. As mentioned, going to be Ling Hydra here from Reynor. Nice Lings here from SKillous. Shaving off a little Lings. Well, he's about to get surrounded. Lings coming from behind. SKillous has to get the hell out of here. Gets surrounded. Oh my god. Initially he traded well, but yeah, those Lings, they will punish. It's going to be what, 2, 3, 4 Stalkers going down. Brutal losses. Barely does blink away. What was initially a good trade, now things are going south. And Reynor, he's overwhelming the main army, moving forward, catching out more Stalkers. Expensive losses here for SKillous. Has to pull back. Oh! Getting a Hydra. Barely not. The transfuse! Oh no. The transfuse was clutch. And Reynor, he does catch the Archon. He can keep going. And he might even get the 4th. And the 4th base is exposed. SKillous, he has to hold on to it. Barely reinforcing in time. Likewise, Reynor still rallying across the map. 24 Lings in production. But he needs those Lings. Does need them here and now. Pulling back. Once again, clutch transfuse. 1 Hydra finally falls. And SKillous is barely holding on. Unfortunately, Storm just now starting. That is late. The storm was heavily delayed, and without it, defending against Lingbane Hydra, it's going to be difficult. Oh, but the charge will slowly get across the map. They distract Reynor. Baneling's waddling in. Oh my god. They didn't quite get into the mineral line. Reynor was distracted. 3 drones going down. SKillous buying time. Nice target firing on the Banelings. Sniping what he can. There's still so many Banelings though, and they're getting to the mineral lines. Probe's going down. The 4th base goes down as well. And SKillous is up against the wall. Again, he just lost too many stalkers earlier. Storm just now finishing. Not bad. Decent storms. Decent storms on the army. SKillous, he's holding. He's holding on. But the reality is that Reynor, if he wanted to, he could just drone. He's not. He's basically 3-base all in. But he could drone, he could take up into lurkers. But now he smells blood in the water. And he's committing. And we saw this kind of hurt Reynor yesterday against Max Packs, especially on King's Cove. But here, like, he can get away with it. He can get away with it. Rolling in, crashing into the stalkers. So many of them go down. There's another cancel on the 4th. Just denying the 4th base over and over again. Oh no. As it's a kill, not a cancel. 4th base goes down. Reynor now is taking up. Infestation bits, lurker den, he's droning, taking gases. I do appreciate that Reynor, he's thinking further ahead this time. He is ahead, don't get me wrong. He's in the lead. But he's making sure he secures that lead. Making sure he doesn't throw it away. Nice spread. The splits, Patty. Avoiding the storm. Speaking of, final storm for SKillous. Hydra's guiding well. Eventually, SKillous, he will break out. Forcing back the Hydras. And at this point, yes, SKillous, he's committed. Like, he's pushing deep onto creep. I mean, he has to. What else can he do? Pushes onto creep. Shaves off a couple of units here and there. Some Hydras, some Lings. The boys! Get out of here. Probes a waddle in. But last again, Reynor, he's looking quite comfortable here. Nice transfuses. With the help of the reinforcements, Reynor, he's going to be able to hold. The Lurker Den is done. Hive is on the way. Investing into more upgrades. And unfortunately, behind this, SKillous was unable to expand. It was unable to expand. Still stuck on 3 bases. Still in a dire position. High Templar defended the mineral line from the main. Yeah, it was a nice moment because it worked. like it was crazy. Get some nice moments out of SKillous, doing whatever he could with what he had, but unfortunately, he can't quite sustain these losses. As Reynor's on 82 workers, Hive is now done. Here come the Lurker upgrades. And once the Lurker upgrades kick in, he can now embrace Lurker tech. Speaking of, I mean, he already has them. The Lair Tech Lunkers, papi. Oh my god. The Lunkers are here. Four Lings on the way, and GG gets called. No final fight, but the writing was on the wall. And with that, Reynor takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Reynor does take a lead in this series. Again, Reynor was able to get quite a lot of momentum in this game, denying the 4th base, and not just that, but able to strike and punish SKillous just before he could really get things going. I'm specifically referring to the moment, if you remember, SKillous, he stasis so many lings and he pushed forward, and SKillous, he was trading well, and then the stasis behind the army ran out, and then Reynor got a surround. He got a surround on the stalkers, and he killed, was it like 7? I think it was 7 stalkers there immediately. Then from there, Reynor just kept pushing, killed 7 stalkers, and then Lazy Siege won the 4th and killed the 4th, right? He was able to deny the 4th base and just never allowed SKillous to recover from that movement forward. Because SKillous was focusing on surviving, even though he had his Temple Archives done, he couldn't start Storm. Storm didn't begin until like 2 minutes later, because he was just fighting for his life, trying to hold on to that 4th base and hold on to that position. Eventually he did, but it was after the fact that he started Storm. Because that, it just made things even worse or even harder, because then he was stuck fighting Lingbane Hydra for even longer with purely a gateway army. By the time Storm kicked in, too late. Too little too late. GG, well played with that. We're getting ready for game number 2. It's going to be on Frostline. Getting to Frostline, a much larger map, the bases are still much more exposed, and I'm expecting SKillous to be a little bit more assertive and aggressive this time, but we'll see. Let's start. As in the bottom left-hand corner, we have Reynor for Basilisk. In the top right, we have SKillous for Team Liquid. Here we go. As we are settling in, Reynor just going to be opening up. Hatch gas full. Hatch first at least. Is opening up. So we are going to be settling in. And again, I would imagine that SKillous is going to have a different approach. Trying to go into a longer game state here on Frostline, we've seen is quite difficult, very difficult. I say difficult, it can be a little more engaging. That was one of the fun things about Fiber Cup last night. I think some people were pointing it out, and I'd have to agree. We did have a lot of late game ZvTs on this map, featuring players like Milky Cow, players like Nicorakt, Wayne, and Young Yakov. It was a lot of fun, but the reason why is because this map doesn't really have as many defensive features. It does allow for more dynamic gameplay in a later game, just because you're trading more often. You're trading instead of, you know, just walling off, and turtling, just because it's that much more difficult to pull that off. So can lead to more dynamic gameplay, but for now we're calming things down, and we've yet to really embrace it, and I don't know if we will. Don't know if we will. For now, Stargate opener out of SKillous. So far so good. And we'll see if Reynor decides to invest into Roaches this time instead. As a reminder, last game, Reynor, he was very invested and very committed with Ling aggression. It was a wild start to the game, if you remember, where Reynor, he invested and he didn't quite get the 3rd base. He threw away like 20 Lings to do so. Didn't get it. Then he made like 50 more behind it. It was crazy. In the end, the Lings did pay off, true. Eventually. Those are the same Lings that surrounded the Stalkers. But now though, we're calming things down. First Overlord does full. Going for the initial Oracle, expanding, getting 2 more Oracles behind this, I would imagine. No, that's a Robo, okay! You have my attention. SKillous going for the rover into Twilight Council. This screams Archon drop. Okay, so single Oracle into an Archon drop here. We've spoken about this build before. This can be quite successful, especially on certain maps. The goal here is to be a little bit more defensive, build up a heavy Archon and Immortal count, and snowball out of control with a death blow of an army down the road in the mid game. See if we can get there. Again, with this robo, we should be seeing a Warp Prism into a Temple Archives, into Warping in High Templar, Warping in Archons. That's usually how this build does open up. Yep, there it is. There's that Temple Archives we did mention. Again, into Archon drop. This is a very niche build. It is done quite a lot, mainly by European players. This is not really seen at all amongst the Koreans, but we see this a lot from players like Christiana, players like Strange, players like SKillous as well. I think we've seen... What else am I thinking of? I think we've seen Showtime do this, true. We've seen Showtime do this as well, especially last year. This build was a little bit more popular last year, like 2023. But still has its place. Skills should soon be active with those Archons. Yep, there's Warp Prism, and here come the High Templar. So again, this is a delayed Archon drop. Typically, an Archon drop would be a little bit much faster, actually, with a Twilight Council DT opener into Archons. This is far later, but it's a way to gain map control, a way to secure your third base, deny these overlords, threaten the Lings, threaten the mineral lines. We can see Reynor, now you realize what's going on, he's taking immediately into Hive Tech. There are some different responses to this. One of the responses you can go for is Spire into Mutas. The reason for this is because there's no Blink Stalkers, right? There's no Blink Stalkers, or at least Blink is going to be heavily delayed. Ooh, so Prism takes a lot of hits. That should not have happened. Yeah, the Prism takes a lot of damage. And just to re-emphasize and just to refocus, the purpose and the end goal of this opener, which is Archon drop, leads into Mass Archon, Mass Immortal with Storm, and it leads into this Death Bull of an army. As I mentioned, this was more prevalent last year. This is also, I believe, why we saw the nerf to the Immortal. If you remember, in the most recent patch, the Immortal attack rate was reduced by like 10%, just because like this heavy Archon Immortal based composition, it was doing a lot. Like you could have like a line of lurkers and the Immortal Archon just breaks through the lurkers. Like it doesn't like they didn't even care, mate. It's crazy. Once you get to critical mass, of course. But these more Immortal heavy styles is, I'm pretty sure, a big reason as to why that nerf to the Immortal did occur. But that hasn't stopped people from doing this. Like we've still seen this style succeed, like despite the nerf to the Immortal. Still quite potent. Speaking of, lurkers are on the way. Here comes the initial move outs. Storm is now done. Lings, they're coming in from behind. They're trying to catch out the High Templar. Oh no, the Templar! No, don't like this. And can they get one? It looks like, oh, they force an Archon. They get two. Aye. That is brutal. And what was supposed to be 5 High Templar down to only 3. Down to 3 High Templar. SKillous, he does throw down a 4th base. That is getting rid of at least 2 storms. Could have been up to 4 storms as well, which is actually a big blow. SKillous is now moving out. We have a wall of roaches here waiting for him. Lurker upgrades on the way. Lings, they catch out an Immortal. Immortal gets caught out. It is going to be saved, thankfully. But Reynor counterattacks. He counterattacks once again, going for the 4th base, looking to deny it. SKillous rotating. SKillous still has a terrifying army, and again, he has to end the game with this army. As they're pointing out, charge is not done. I do think that's an oversight. I do think the charge was meant to be done at this point. So, a bit of a slip up there by SKillous. They'll say waddle into the mineral line. Drones are going down. SKillous, he races back home. And he misses window. He misses timing. Reynor's maxed out. Now, Reynor, his maxed out army is actually quite inefficient. He has a lot of roaches here, so it's not really as large as it otherwise should be, or could be. So Reynor has to trade. And he knows that he has to trade out these roaches and refine his army with more lurkers, more hydras, more lings. And that's why he's going for these roach counterattacks. He has to get rid of them. Does have to get rid of them. We'll come across some of these zealots. Does catch an immortal, not bad. Pushing in towards the natural. Yes, the natural's under fire. Roaches, they knock down the robos, one, then the other. Massive pickoffs. SKillous, he races back home. Does race back. Blackbear's pushing on the right hand side. Denies the fourth, and the longer this game goes on, I mean, it's getting more and more difficult here for SKillous. Down in bases, down in economy. You can still take a fight, is what I will say, depending on the storms, depending on the engagement. But last, SKillous is working towards Skytoss, and his goal here is to stabilize. It's just turtle, defend, stabilize, build up into Skytoss. We'll see if he can. Oh. Not again. Not again. Templar, get out of here. As the fourth base is going to be denied. Reynor almost catching one of the carriers. Almost. Nice storms here on the main army, but lurkers are slowly pushing in. Yeah, they're within range. The base is under fire. Reynor pushing towards the natural at the same time. Cloak, yeah, the cloak runs out. Uh-oh. And SKillous, he will be able to clean up this army. He takes down every single lurker, but he loses his mineral line. 18 probes going down. Reynor pushing in towards the natural, getting to the mineral lines. And Reynor, he has the economy to rebuild behind this. That is a lot of immortals left over, though. 30 per Jesus. 30 probes go down, and SKillous is all in. SKillous, he is all in. He has to counterattack. There's no other way. And SKillous still has a terrifying army. He's got 94 army supply, and it's mainly Immortal Archon Skytoss. Like it's a very like intense army. It's very dense even. The quality is there. But Reynor is going for the base trade, or he's going for the non-stop counterattacks. Back at home, there are some lurkers to defend. There we go, more lurkers on the way. Plus 3 is finishing up in 10 seconds. It should finish, should complete in time. After both players. Finish for both players. SKillous looking for a better angle. Sees the wall of lurkers. He cannot push into that. And Reynor, he successfully got rid of all his roaches. He's now just ling lurker hydra. Storm turning him away. Archon goes down. And SKillous, he might be able to catch an expansion, but he needs more than this. Does need more than this. He's going to rotate, takes down the hatchery. The Hydra, oh, the High Templar. He gets what he gets to. He gets up. Two High Templar go down. The others, they meet up. They get under the cloak. The cloak runs out. Forcing out another Archon. And again, Reynor can afford these losses. He has a backup 4th base towards the north. So he's maintaining his 4-base economy. Zealot Rabbi is on the way, has potential, true. Zealots are making their way over. The mineral line drones are going to go down. Reynor, he has to respond. Everything comes back home to defend. 11 drone kills. Okay. There's a recall. Catching out Hydras as well. Nice moment here for SKillous. Oh. Storms are going up. And unfortunately behind this, I think I'd be looking more fondly on SKillous' position if he did have a 4th on the way. But unfortunately, he's still on 3 bases. I mean, even if he tried to get a 4th base, like Reynor still being active, going for non-stop run-bys. Still moving out. You can see SKillous trying to expand towards the south. He's trying. He needs that 4th. But the links are there. Yeah, the links are there to stop it. So without a 4th base, SKillous, I don't see him maxing out. I don't see him maxing out or really comparing to the army of Reynor. Outside of Reynor moving into the army or just having a really bad engagement. We'll see. 4th base gets denied once again. SKillous still being active. Vipers are on the way. I mean, the spellcasters have been something that Reynor's been lacking for quite some time, but now they're on the way, and with them, he can now dive on top of the army, yoink the carriers. Okay, 4th base on the way for SKillous. Can he get away with it? Now, because it's Carrier instead of Tempest, unlike like last game's series between Reynor and Maxfax, I don't think it's as dire that that Reynor isn't working towards too many Corruptors. There it is, +1 air, well, flyer carapace is on the way. 4th base goes down. That's a kill! No, that's a kill that I cancel. But Reynor, he's investing into Sky Tussle, Sky Zerg upgrades. He is investing into those Corruptors just in case. And speaking of, there it is, 8 Corruptors are on the way. And Reynor, he won't make the same mistakes twice. Not twice in 2 days. Not this time. As Reynor, he's waiting to gather energy on those Vipers, likewise waiting for the Corruptors to pop out as well, before pushing. Again, Reynor, he can't push into this army too freely, which is why it's able to take down another expansion. Another base goes down. But now that the Vipers are out, you can see Reynor getting in position. Looking for his opportunity. Up! Does get the Oracle. SKillous does finally get a 4th base and running true. He has an economy. But there comes the first yoink. Does get a carrier. One carrier goes down. Reynor setting up a counterattack. SKillous in position to defend. Oh. Reynor trying to catch the tail end of the army. Instead, Reynor getting caught out himself. It's a lurker, gets a couple of hydras. Not bad. I'll say this is the beginning of the comeback for SKillous. So now he has an economy. Now he's able to refine his army. Tempests are on the way, which is what SKillous has been missing. Okay, he's in this. Very much so. The other scary thing, I don't know if you noticed, Reynor has no economy. Or he has a bank, but he's on 44 drones. Reynor, he's on 44 workers, so because of that, Reynor, his bank allows him to remax once, by the way, and even then, like, not even an ideal remax either. So if he takes the bad fight, SKillous can win this, 100%. Reynor setting up a surround. The surround is set. But SKillous, he pulls away. One-Eyed Templar will run into the lurkers. And yeah, SKillous, he is maxing. He can take this. But that's a lot of corruptors. He has to be so careful here with the engage. He needs to land those storms. Ideally, we would see SKillous break that army on the right-hand side first. Yeah, he's going in. Oh, he comes around. Here come the corruptors. He goes to the dive. Mass powerbomb here on the army. Corruptors, they dive in. Yeah, the carriers and the Tempests are all going to go down. Brutal pickoffs, and SKillous' army crumbles. It just crumbles here and now. Gets surrounded, down to only Archons. And Reynor, he can send it. He can send it from here. Yeah, that surround was brutal. This round was brutal, just not enough Archons or Storm. I mean, SKillous was fighting with half his army. Forced to recall, but yeah, with that he has lost too much momentum. Corruptors, they can bring down the base. Going into the main. Why not? SKillous trying to switch to a ground-based army. But he needs more time. Needs more time. Does find the final Tempest. Fourth base goes down. Oh my god, the storms though. Okay. Storms, they pop up. Oh no, the transfer! No, he's running into the army. It's happening off cams. Don't look. 18 probe kills. Ay, ay, ay. 19 even. 20. I mean, the storms are good. But the base goes down. GG gets called, and Reynor, he will take the series 2-0, advancing on. And looking quite strong here in this group. GG. GG. Again, Reynor flexing his ZvP. As I did mention before, ZvP is one of his stronger matchups out there. And Reynor so far relying heavily on it, does kick things off with a 2-0 win over SKillous and a 2-1 win over MaxFax. GG. GG, well played. And that is going to lead us into our final series of the night, into the ZvZ between Reynor and Rogue. This is going to be an interesting one. Rogue ZvZ is actually quite terrifying. For those of you that were here, it would have been start of the year? End of last year? When was DreamHack Dallas? I think that was start of the year. Yeah. It was start of the year. DreamHack Dallas at the start of the year, we were fortunate enough to be covering the open bracket at the time. We were covering it live, and we casted Rogue versus Solar. This was, I think, like one of Rogue's first big like returning tournaments. And Rogue, he was the player that knocked Solar out of the open bracket. And Solar, he actually went home early. He flew back early. He wasn't able to compete in DreamHack. It was brutal. Again, that was earlier this year, and yeah, and it wasn't just once, it was twice, because it was double elimination. If you remember, it was double elimination. We were very, very lucky to cast those games. But Rogue, he was able to take down Solar in the upper bracket and in the lower bracket as well. And yeah, with that rogue, he knocked Solar out of DreamHack, and Solar, I think, because usually DreamHack is like a 3 or 4 day event, and Solar came back like on a Saturday. And I remember a lot of people being really surprised because Solar, because he came back so early, he played in that week's ESL Open Cup Asia, and there were people tuning in the chat. They were like, what is he playing like from Texas? Like what, like from Dallas? Like what's going on? And we're like, no, he flew home early. So he's playing in the ESL Open Cup. It was crazy. It was crazy. So yeah, this is gonna be a spicy one. It's gonna be a spicy ZvZ to end this broadcast. We're gonna be going on a break, and we'll come back. We'll be coming back soon with that ZvZ. See you soon.